Back here. SEMO head coach Tom Matukewicz, the team came up short 27-24 at Gardner-Webb last week. This week back in action at Western Illinois on Saturday afternoon. So, coach, thoughts about the Red Hawks, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, tough loss. Give Gardner-Webb a lot of credit. I thought they played well, was well coached, and played a good football game. We got down early. Um, Liked how our team responded. It was tough. I think they had some kind of drive to feed hunger amount of sacks that we gave up. I bet you every single person in North Carolina is having a ribeye today. So it was a tough go of it. Had a couple injuries in the O line. It kind of just snowballed on us. But it was a one possession game. We battled, we lost, and now we're just fighting to finish out the season, try to figure out how we can get better and improve the things that have shown up so far.
Coach Reiser talked about that Jax, took a lot of shots and hit, but didn't. He still threw for 304 yards, and he was very tough. So, how do you, when you have 11 sacks, how do you kind of overcome that and only lose by 3 points?
Yeah, it's just, you got to get to the next play. Those things start building, and then you start telling yourself a story. Man, can you believe this? And how many say, and just this doom loop. But I did feel like the coaches and the leaders of the team kept trying to make it about the next series and things like that, and that kept going. I think a lot of people look at the sacks and blame the O-line, which there's plenty of blame to go around, but you know the first sack, we had a senior running back let the corner just run right by his face and hit our quarterback. And Jax needs to be able to throw the ball. He's not as mobile with the injuries and stuff, and he needs to learn how to throw it away in the pocket. Some stuff like that. So he's young, he's 20. We're still helping him learn all that. But at the same time, we got to fight to put our players in better positions as coaches. So when you give up 11 sacks, it's certainly schematic also.
The fourth, I think there were 27 points before the fourth quarter total, and then you all had 24 total in the fourth quarter. So it's quite a crazy fourth quarter as you all almost came back. Just can you talk about the fourth quarter in general?
Yeah, like I said, that was the best part is we didn't give in those tough circumstances and uh, got after it. I think defensively, the third quarter they were out there a lot and got a little tired in the end, and that's why they ended up giving some of those points up. But offensively, I appreciate that we responded and never felt like the game was over and kind of ran out of time.
Let's talk about your defense just a little bit. And I know I asked about him a couple weeks ago. Jeremy Walton had another big game.
Yeah.
It at least shows up on the stat sheet and four quarterback hurries on top of his sacks and stuff. Like, talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, real proud of him. He's leaving here playing his best ball. He's a senior, kind of gone through a lot this year, and has really matured and is really disruptive. We play him all over. We'll play him in the B gap, the C gap, the D gap, off the ball, on the ball. He has to learn a lot of different skill sets from the run, the pass, but also dropping in zone coverage and some stuff like that. So, really proud of how he's performing, and I certainly feel like he's one of an all conference type selection.
And your punter had 11 punts. He averaged over 40 and hit a long of 53. I didn't know what you thought about his performance.
Yeah, I thought he had a good day. He finally earned his post game meal. When you have 11 sacks and 11 punts, it's a one of those days. But he's performed well, and really all year has performed well. And we let one of the returns get out on us, and then one of the pooches wasn't great, and so is when you look at it on paper, maybe not as good a performance as he'd want, but really has had a great junior year here, and can't wait to see what life brings his way.
Well, let's talk about your opponent a little bit in Western. They've got a little winning streak going on now and came
Yeah.
from behind in the fourth quarter against Lindenwood.
Yeah, Coach Davis, this is year two for him, and man, just it feels like he is, made a lot of strides, and it's tough. You lose a lot of those losses this year were a one score game, and I've been there. I don't know how many years I was here before I even had a winning record, And sometimes losing close is a good sign when you're building a program. And I feel like he's done that. The guys are believing. They were down. I'm not sure. It might have been 21-7 at Littlewood. Uh, and come back and win. And so they've been through a lot. They're going to have a lot of confidence, and we need to be ready for that type of team this weekend.
They're playing a freshman quarterback, and you all did when Jax was hurt. What do you get out of seeing a freshman quarterback who's still learning, but he seemed to have has played pretty well for them this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Very impressive, just how he's handled it. A lot of the things will be the first time he sees things, first times he does things, but the best thing about it is that's really how you get better. I don't care what anybody says. You don't get better in the film room. You don't get better in practice. Like it's just, especially at quarterback, you need to be in that environment. You need to make the mistakes, get feedback, coaching, then go back out there and try to take some of that off the film. And I see him getting better, just like his team's getting better. He's not making dumb decisions, turning the ball over, stuff like that. And so, we're going to have to beat them. They're definitely not going to beat themselves.
And that's, with what Western did last year, very pass heavy. This year they have the leading rusher in the OVC and
Yeah.
Markel Holman. Are they more diversified, I guess, in their offensive attack this
Yeah, I think so. I think they're a little harder to defend because of that. I think Markel runs really hard, runs behind his pads, but also I think they've really upgraded in their O line. I think last year, they were really good at protection and maybe not so much in the run game, but this year they seem to be really blocking people well also in the run game, and so I think they've made a lot of strides in the line of scrimmage.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Stay warm.